welcome, Eclectors. Welcome back to the Eclectic Collection podcast, where everybody wants to be an eclector. And if you're not, you should sign up, subscribe, and all that fun stuff because, well, that's just what people do these days. We're on episode 48 today, where everybody knows your name. This is a bittersweet thing that I just discovered. It made me sad, and I thought, let me rant about it a little bit. So I always believe that there are just places that are comfortable to everybody, that you just want to go and you can walk in and it's like a warm fuzzy blanket. And since I have always grown up in entertainment, or the idea of just crazy Italians that we are, you know, food and drink is a huge part of that. So if you're going to celebrate something, chances are, as mom would say, have a meatball. You know, if you're going to celebrate something, you generally go have a drink, go have dinner, you know, have an event for it. And I'm all for that, being the crazy extrovert that I am. So one place that I very much miss, love, and was at all the time was Bennigan's. And Bennigan's was obviously a national chain for the longest time. And I grew up with it, and it was down the street in Springfield for me, and we went there all the time. It wasn't even a question. It became the place that after high school, if there was a dance or something or a game, you would go hang out, you know, have late night. They were open, you know, till about 2 because they were both a family-style restaurant. And then what I liked about it was the bar was like in the middle. So obviously when we were younger and weren't partaking in the bar part, that was sort of segregated in the middle, and you could see like the bar people, but externally around the big rectangle of a bar, there were all these plenty of tables, and you could just go sit and eat. And it was neat. So loved it. Definitely was part of that and would go there all the time, constantly. And it got to a point where it was almost like on the daily, especially in high school and college, because there was always something to, celebrate, or after the fact, or we were working long hours on something, whether it was yearbook or stage crew or the play or a game, or we had a field day or something, we would always go out afterwards. And it was really interesting because that Bennigan's, that I call my Bennigan's, of course, was in Springfield. It was a corporate Bennigan's. It was not a franchise Bennigan's. And there are still franchise Bennigan's out there, but they're few and far between. I guess, I don't know, Chapter 13, whatever that is, some sort of bankruptcy. I don't know what happened, but it started to kind of go by the wayside in the latter part after 2000. And my Bennigan's closed, so sadly, in September of 2008. I was crushed. It's since become a diner, which, like, okay, it's a yummy place, whatever, but it's not the same. It's obviously just a random diner. And let's be real, if you're not 24/7 and you're a diner, you're not really a diner. Jersey, you know what I mean. Anyhow, jug handles and diners, whole reasons for Jersey. And tomatoes. I will give them tomatoes. But here nor there, it just wasn't the same. I was crushed. They literally had a auction. They had an auction where you could pick up, bid on, or actually just straight outright buy, in some cases, the paraphernalia on the walls and different seats and things and bar stools that they had. And I was just so sad. I have a couple little pieces that I was able to get from it. I'm actually sitting next to one of the little stopwatches that used to be on the tables. They had this 30-minute lunch promise, which they never could actually follow through on, by the way. They could never follow through on it. You would click the little timer, and it would give you 30 minutes, and it would beep at the end. And if you didn't have your lunch by 30 minutes, then lunch was free. Let me tell you, that's probably why they filed for bankruptcy, because lunch was free a lot. They were never able to do it. But I wasn't there too much for lunch. I was always there either after work or after an event, or, you know, later night. And after gigs, I would notoriously go in. So they celebrated a lot. I mean, it's funny because why would an Italian be in an Irish bar, right? And I'm not much of a drinker, but they would have the yearly toast for Guinness, and Sláinte was their thing, you know, as the salute, if you will, of Irish pubs. And they had a lot of basic fare. It was a pretty yummy place as far as like the breadsticks, and they had the really good French onion soup, and they had different things that were kind of like a shepherd's pie, or like a basic Irish stew. Like, it was, you know, comfort food. I never got into the Monte Cristo, but boy, did I know people who did. Who wants to deep fry a sandwich that's already like full of grease? I don't know. But it closed, and I was so sad. And I just never got over it. It was like an empty hole. And the bummer of this is that a couple years after, I want to say, I don't know, circa like 12 or 14, my friend says to me, listen, I can't stand you wallowing about Bennigan's. It's depressing. I went looking up on the website. A couple of them had franchised, reorganized. There's one in Jersey. And we're near, in the tri-state area. So she's like, let's go. Well, it turned out to be like an hour and 40 minutes away. But yes, we made the trek just to have a good old Bennigan's experience. And we went out there. I think it was close to my birthday. So we went out there and trekked almost 2 hours to Bennigan's. Obviously, it wasn't my Bennigan's, but, same kind of warm, fuzzy feel. And we went out there and had dinner, and it was fun. And took pictures in front of it because, yes, we're that geeky. And then it had been a while. So the other day we got talking about it because R.I.P. Bennigan's. And I said, what happened to Bennigan's? And I was talking to my friend Nance, and she said, well, I guess the one in Jersey is still there. I said, I don't know. So she went to the internet because I would never think to go to the interwebs because I still have a phone book. Don't make fun of me. Don't judge. I like paper. And she said, oh my God, it's gone. I said, you're kidding me. She said, no, it's gone. There's only one in Florida, which, I used to be able to catch one down there if I was going to Mickey World because obviously every year it's the happiest place on earth. Most magical, in fact. And the one that was in Jersey that we went to that was, quote, close, even though it was 2 hours, gone. The other one's in Jersey, gone. Nothing in Delaware. There's like 7 of them in Ohio, so I don't know what's going on in Ohio that they're Bennigansing it up, but they are. And Iowa, of all states, nowhere near me, have like 12. So again, Iowa, congrats to you. You get the Bennigan's Award. But the map of Bennigan's was looking bleak. There were not a lot of choices left. And I was so sad because it's like been taken from me, but then it got taken away even farther. So I couldn't even go if I wanted to. But if you are a Bennigan's person and you remember that, then this all makes sense to you. And if you're not, then you missed out and I'm sorry. And if you just thought it was another chain restaurant, boy, are you wrong. And I'd like to point out that Hula Hands, which is also, RIP, but not as much RIP, was the wannabe Bennigan's. So Hula Hands was the rival chain that was equally an Irish pub kind of a feel, but never quite the warm fuzzy at Hula Hands that you got at Bennigan's, it was just a facsimile. So they're both gone. Hula Hands died first, and actually I only ever knew of the one, whereas Bennigan's you would see them all over the place. But for some reason, it's just Midwest and lots in Ohio, one random one in Florida, and I didn't really study the map, but let's just say there were far fewer dots on that map than there were a long time ago for pinpointed locations of happy Bennigan's places. So if you're near one, enjoy it and go for me and, have a drink and a Irish stew on my behalf. And if you're not near one, I apologize profoundly because I no longer am near one. Very sad, the demise of Bennigan's. It's just something I'll miss. It's funny because my local establishments that I've always known, I'll probably do a future podcast on all this. If you're near or from this area and know some of these, again, they're more private places. Bennigan's is more of a chain. My friends call me the restaurant killer because there's been places that I've always frequented that in the last 5 to 10 years have just gone by the wayside, closed up, couldn't make it. And I don't even know why. They're all places that I would frequent and they just sort of dried up for one reason or another, or the family passed on and the kids didn't want to take over the operation or whatever the reason. And I'm probably like 5 or 6 more deep of restaurants and facilities that we would use all the time, and now they're gone. It just makes me sad. So that's another depressing moment for another day. But long live Bennigan's, and sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. I walked in there and it was like a scene from Cheers, except they weren't saying Norm, they were saying Tar. But loved it there. Never waited, never had a bad experience. And it's funny because people were like, you like it so much here, why don't you work here? And I never worked there on purpose because I never wanted it to be a negative thing. I always wanted it to be my happy place, and it was. So sad. If you're near one, definitely go. If you liked what you heard today, then check us out on the eclecticcollectionpodcast.com or on your preferred platform. I'm Terry Taglia. Thanks for listening.